Hey guys, welcome back in. I have gotten a lot, and this is my day. This is obviously Sunday, so this is my day where a lot of times I like to go out to the range early in the mornings, or I like to go out to the range in the evening. I do that for two reasons. One, I don't like to be around a lot of people. Sometimes I run some drills at the range, and we really don't want. There's a lot of new shooters and stuff that may go to the range. They may see some of that, think they have the ability to do some of those drills, and without good muzzle discipline, right, and without finger or trigger discipline, they can really hurt some people. So those are the times where I go. So I wanted to, and I'm in my new man cave. My daughter took over my old man cave, so I had to move. So repainted her room. I've relocated. It's much smaller. It's probably a third of the size of my old man cave, but that's okay because she may not be here very long. I don't know. 19 years old, you never know when they're gonna start wanting to live on their own. But anyway, but this is also the time where I like to come in and start looking at some of the comments that people have posted and review those comments, and this goes off of the secrets to sighting the red dot scope, right? The secret to sighting a red dot. And this was a quick tip that I gave for sighting a red dot. I hope you've watched it. If you've watched the video, then great. You know that we took a measurement from the middle of the scope to the middle of the barrel. We draw that out at 4 feet or 5 feet maximum, right? We draw that out. We take that distance. We put a bore sight on it. You can look down the barrel if you want to. You can look down the barrel and put it on the dot on the bottom, and then you put your red dot on the dot at the top, and those should equal out. Those should match up. The key is you can't be doing it like this, right? You can't move the barrel, or you can't move the weapon. You've got to have that weapon sitting stationary and locked in. So a lot of people don't understand this goes back to me assuming that a lot of people understand this or know this, but a lot of people don't. I'm actually surprised at how many people have been shooting for a long time and still don't understand this. But your barrel, guys, is not straight. I don't know if you knew that or not. If you did, great. If you didn't, then this is going to be really useful and new information to you. But a lot of people think that your barrel is straight. There's a line here and a line there, and it's just flat. Your barrel is not straight and it's not flat. It's actually canted at an angle. So your barrel, and this is going to be exaggerated, right? But your barrel has a rise to it. Because when you shoot, especially at distance, right, the way ballistics work is your bullet does not ride flat across the plane, across the line. It will drop off before it hits the target, right? Because you have the pull of gravity pulling that bullet down, right? You have, the curvature of the earth that affects that bullet. You have other things, and we talk about wind, we talk about, as far as drift goes, right? The bullet's spinning, right? When it comes out of the end of the barrel, right? There's rifling in the barrel, it spins the bullet. That bullet has drift, right? So it will drift off, but straight bullet ballistics it does not go from point A to point B in a straight line. It goes from and this is point A, and the target is point B. It actually goes up at an arc and falls into the target. It goes up at an arc and falls into the target. That's ballistics. That's why we do this separation at 4 feet or 5 feet, right? We have the distance between the sight and the barrel at 4 feet. As you go out, right? So we do that at 4 feet. Okay, so here's your 4 foot mark, right? And you've got one going this way and one going this way. And as that rises out to 25 yards, it becomes a zero at 25 yards. This is not zero. This is an approximation. That's why it's so important when, for any of you guys that are shooting at 100 yards or 200 yards or 300 yards, however you zero that or whatever distance you zero, and let's just say you take a 200 yard zero, right? Well, you're not going to put the crosshairs in, and let's make this point too, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to say this. Well, you shouldn't be shooting a red dot past 25 yards anyway. Exactly my point, right? But talking about ballistics, red dots aren't, red dots not for 200, 300, 500 yard shots, guys, right? That's where you want a graduated scope on that thing. Well, if you zero your weapon at 200 yards and you're shooting out to 300 yards, you've actually got to raise your point of aim up in order to account for that extra flight of that round, that extra distance that round has to cover, that extra 100 yards, right? And angle up. So that's why you move where your aim point is up on the target so that the projectile or the bullet falls into where you want to hit, or falls into that target where you're aiming, or where your strike point is, or where you want to put that round. Anybody who's zeroing at 200 yards and then putting their crosshairs directly on the bullseye at 300 yards is always going to be low. Always going to be low. And the lower you aim that thing, the closer that round is to the earth, the more gravity is going to pull that round down. So very important to understand why that zero works. And I use this all the time on active duty, is zeroing this thing. We would change out optics and we would change out weapons, and there were certain optics that we'd run in certain situations, right? Certain missions require certain things. So you dress out your weapon for whatever the mission requires or whatever you're going to be doing. And we're changing stuff out all the time. We didn't have time to run down to the range every single time we did one of those to zero that thing. So we had to get an approximate zero or a rough zero to go out and take care of business. So that's why I think this is so important. So for those of you guys who have been commenting on this is why the 2 points are where they are and why the distance is only 4 feet or 5 feet. And I had another comment. Somebody said, well, can't you look down instead of using a bore sight, or a laser bore sight? You can actually just take the upper off and look right down the barrel. Well, sure, you can do that. The problem with that is you got to make sure the key is you got to lock that weapon down, or you can't have that weapon moving around, right? So it's really, really easy when I've got a bore sight on that thing to put that laser right there, and I can see if the laser moves off of there, right? And I can readjust that without having to go back and forth and eyeballing it and hoping I'm right. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat. And it really doesn't matter to me how you do it. The key is that you understand, what you're doing and why you're doing it, and don't leave things up to chance. But I've seen guys do that too, where they've shot, they've fired that weapon at 4 to 5 feet and, taken a shot, aim the red dot right in the middle, took a shot and see where it was, and then made the adjustments from there. There's a lot of ways you can do that. So again, this is just kind of an idea of how to do that, why it works, and what the actual zero on that is, which is actually 25 yards. So that's on that. Let's talk a little bit about the ammo that I bought. Remember I told you I bought some Wolf ammunition. This was $10 a box. Well, I did go out and shoot off 200 rounds of this stuff. It's not bad ammo, right? Steel case. It's not bad ammo. The only thing I will say about it is it's dirty. It's dirty. It's not very, very clean. And the reason for that is, maybe don't know this as well, but steel versus brass does not expand as quickly or as much. So steel does not expand as quickly or as much as brass does. When this round is initially chambered, right, it seats into the barrel, but the problem is that there's a space around that round, right? So there's a space around that round. That bullet will just fall out of there if you open up the chamber and tilt the weapon back. Sometimes that round will just fall right out. when this thing gets struck, when you hit that primer on the back and this bullet gets struck, the gases and the explosion that happens back here with the gunpowder expands the round. It expands the round. And then this causes a tight seal on where the barrel is. So with steel, because you don't get as tight of a seal on that, all of that, instead of going down the barrel of the gun and coming out of the barrel, all of that powder, that excess powder, that carbon burn off goes back into the breech. It goes back into the weapon. So, needless to say, it took me about an hour and a half to clean my AR after shooting 200 rounds of this stuff. Again, you know, is it good ammo for $10? Sure, it's good ammo for $10. I mean, 49 cents a round. You can't go wrong. It gives you some practice time and stuff. But just understand you're going to be cleaning it a lot. And if I cleaned it that much at 200 rounds, I couldn't imagine what I would have done. You know, dumping 1,000 rounds through it. And I don't run. I run my guns pretty hard, but I don't run them to the point where they're so freaking hot that I'm melting down the barrel. The other problem I can see with this is that powder residue going back into the gas, in the gas line and clogging that thing up. So I don't know. I stripped that thing down and cleaned it, and there was some residue built up in that. Again, I couldn't imagine shooting more on it. Those of you guys that are shooting brass, and I found this at, Bass Pro had these. This is 5.56 ammo. 20 rounds for $13.99, so $14. So $4 more than this. This gets 223. This 5.56. But for an extra $4, I'd probably buy a lot more of this than I will this. So I've still got some of this left. I did go back and buy some more of it. But that's kind of why I wanted to test it. Again, the ammunition performed really well. I didn't have any problems with extraction. I didn't have any feed issues. I didn't have any of that kind of stuff. I didn't have any hang-ups. So for the most part, it was pretty decent. Like I said, with the exception of having to clean the weapon afterward. This stuff, I could probably shoot, put 1,000, 2,000 rounds through my guns, through my rifle, my AR, before I'd have to clean it. It just runs cleaner just because of that seal. That brass will expand, pushing most of that debris down the barrel of the gun and not pushing it back into the breech. So that's my take on it. I did not buy any of the aluminum ammunition, probably for the same reason, because steel's going to expand. Aluminum I don't know. I don't know if it would even be worse with the aluminum. Not sure. I went to Bass Pro and they had 100 rounds of Luger 9mm Winchester ammunition, and this is 115 grain. I bought a box of 100 for like $39. Again, 49 cents a round. I'll continue to buy that stuff. I think for me it just feels right. So do what feels right to you. Do what do what you want. But it's just an example of what I will shoot, what I won't shoot. Again, steel ammunition, I don't have a problem shooting that through my carbines. I would probably have a bigger problem shooting steel or aluminum out of my handguns. So, and that's just the way I am. I'm just pretty meticulous about that stuff. I know people that, I talked about on my Glock video, I know people that put thousands of rounds down their Glocks before they clean it. That's not what I do. I go to the range, I come back, I do a light cleaning on it, and then every 2 to 3 months I'll probably field strip it and clean everything, really detail clean everything. But I like a clean weapon. I like my weapons, my guns and stuff to look as good as, as long as I can, keep them as mint condition or looking as new as possible for as long as possible. So anyway, so that's my take on the ammunition. That's the justification for this zero, right? Or this bore sight, your red dot. Guys, and as always, if you have any questions, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I really do. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you've got any topics for videos you'd like me to cover down the road, I'm happy to do that. I appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to hit those likes. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We're pushing over 300 subscribers right now, and I've got some really great t-shirt designs, right? I got this one. This is not mine, but embrace the suck, right? We talked about that in the military all the time. Embrace the suck, right? Because, you know, the only easy day was yesterday. So anyway, I've got some really cool t-shirt designs that we've been working on. I'd love to get those out to you, but we do have to have 1,000 subscribers before we can put it on the channel here. Right now, I'm just kind of selling my buddies and stuff and people that I know. But I'd love to get that out to you. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that effectively and make them cost efficient. So if you can help me get up to 1,000 subscribers, I would appreciate it. But thanks again for listening. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video and share this video as much as possible. Appreciate you guys watching each and every time, and look forward to reading your comments. Thanks.